The spreading of the novel coronavirus is not showing any slowing down. If you have not heard, the total number of cases in South Africa now stands at 13. Meanwhile, UK Junior Health Minister has tested positive for coronavirus. Conservative MP Nadine Dorries, who oversees patient safety, is self-isolating at home. For more on the story, we're joined by our correspondent Stuart Smith. Stuart, a bit of a puzzling story here. Give us the background.
Well, she found out just a day ago that she has got coronavirus. She has been diagnosed. The first MP to be diagnosed. She's followed all the correct procedures, and the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, praised her for taking the right measures. Like you say, she's self-isolating, or as Public Health England want us to say now, staying at home, because people weren't understanding the phrase self-isolating. So she's staying at home. There is some concern, though, that she has been in the House of Commons, where the UK lawmakers vote. She has been there voting on policy, and so potentially has been in contact with at least 600 other MPs. In addition, she was at an International Women's Day event where the Prime Minister himself was attending. So fears that possibly other MPs and possibly even the Prime Minister himself may have got the virus. But Downing Street will not comment on whether he's been tested or whether he does have it.
It's a global process right now that as soon as a case is identified, they then try to locate the contacts. 600 is quite a huge number. Is there any process underway in the House of Commons in terms of detection?
There's no specific procedure within the House of Commons for detection, but they are contact tracing, the phrase they've been using. The public health body in the UK is contact tracing all of the people that she may have come into contact with. So the usual procedure, nothing special from the House of Commons authorities though, nothing like closing down Parliament, nothing like that.
Do we know that if she's going to be undergoing any type of regimen while she's at home?
No, so she's going to be self-isolating and doing any activities she will have to do from home for 2 weeks. She did say in a tweet she's most concerned about her 84-year-old elderly mother who she's been living with. And that, I think, reflects a broader fear here in the UK that this is a virus which tends to leave younger people mostly okay. But for the elderly, it's a much bigger problem. And she's saying she's not worried so much for herself, but for her mother who she's been living with. And her mother is getting tested as we speak.
Stuart, this story is getting global headlines. How does this one particular case speak to the general British situation in terms of COVID-19?
Well, the UK has been quite hesitant in implementing the more extreme measures we've seen around the world, all, I should add, on scientific advice. The UK government and Boris Johnson has been listening closely to the Chief Medical Officer and the Chief Scientific Advisors. They're saying now is not the time to be implementing the more extreme social distancing measures which we've seen in some other countries. So the advice for now is mostly still just to wash your hands with soap and water. What we have seen today is a more extreme approach to the economy side of things. The Bank of England has halved its interest rate from 0.75% to 0.25%. So a huge drop, even though those two figures are quite small in themselves. And that's over fears that the economy could be severely harmed if cash flow is not increased right now.
Other reports have been saying that this is the health minister. Please just confirm for us, is this a junior minister?
That's right. So the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, is the person in charge of the National Health Service. But this is one of his ministers and, like you said earlier, in charge of public health. So a junior minister, but nonetheless not somebody you'd want to be getting the virus in your own department at this time.
No, absolutely. And the amount of contacts that she's come into reflects her level of influence and level of busyness in the public health system. Thank you so much for that update. Stuart Smith from the UK giving us an update on that junior minister who has been affected and is self-isolating at the moment.